All right, how many of you lucky souls are diabetic? Now, I am insulin dependent diabetic. And as you all know, I'm on dialysis. So, what that means for me is that as long as it falls into my renal diet, I can eat it no matter what it is. So, a piece of chocolate cake, German chocolate cake is my favorite. Future reference, anybody out there wants to bring me something, piece of German chocolate cake would be greatly appreciated. Also, certain cream pies, coconut, banana, chocolate as a last resort. But, you know, I'm just looking out for you. Just, if you're looking to get graces or something in the future or buying me something, consider those things. Um, but I can eat those things because I'm insulin dependent. So, I'm normally going to have 15 to 30 units of insulin. However, if I'm going to eat a piece of German chocolate cake, maybe I'll have 40 units of insulin instead. Now, just in case you're wondering, what is his A1C? Because that's dangerous talk. Well, remember that I'm on a renal diet. So that means it has to be kidney friendly. My dietitian says that my labs have been perfect for the last 12 months. So no matter what I'm eating, I'm doing a really good job of my diet. I have mom's meals, which are renal friendly. So the food I eat, all the food I eat pretty much is renal friendly. And, but like I said, I control my blood sugar through insulin. And as a result of that, I can eat whatever I want as long as it fits my renal diet. So, A1C, for those of you that either have an A1C and don't know how to figure it out, or for those of you that have heard that term before and don't know what it is, there's two ways to figure out your A1C. Now, there's the old method, which is what I learned, and now there's a new method, and the new method I haven't learned. But it basically comes out to be about the same number. So imagine somebody says your A1C is a 10. Now, doctors want your A1C to be 7 or less. But let me help you figure it out. If your A1C was a 10, what that means is you have to figure out each one of those numbers, like a 1 or 2 or 3, whatever, up to 10. But figuring it up as 10 is the easiest. That means your blood sugar is a 240. 24 times each one of those numbers. So 24 times 10 is 240. Now, but for your average to be 240, that means half the time it's a 360 and half the time it's a 120, and the average over 90 days is a 240. Now, I used to have a caregiver that said you can cheat and alter your A1C if you change your diet for 7 days. Now, for those of you that know how to do math, what happens if you do something for 83 days and then change it for 7 days? Not much. That really does not change your A1C. For you to change your A1C, you have to change your diet for 90 days. Even changing it for 45 days, and you might change your A1C some, but if you're going to change it for 45, why not go all the way and change it for the full 90? Now, remember also, there are things that your A1C is not. They don't check your glucometer and check to see what's the average score in your glucometer, because in your glucometer, you're only checking it however many times a day you check it. Now I have a Libre system. It's this thing on the back of my arm It's plugged into me all the time. It's good for 2 weeks. And then I take an electronic glucometer and touch it to that however many times a day I want to. And that tells me what my blood sugar is. And it's usually about 20 points off. So I know that if it says it's 100, it's really 120. If it says it's 60, it's really 80. So, but most people don't have that luxury. Most people have to prick their finger and check it that way. And that gets very tiresome and it gets very painful. But they don't check that because if you knew when to check your blood sugar, say you checked it right after, like an hour and a half after you gave yourself insulin, it's always going to be lower. So that's not really an accurate check for an A1C. It's a blood test. Now, unless you've managed to talk to your blood and convince your blood to lower and give you a lower A1C, there's really not a way to cheat on an A1C. It's a 90-day average of your blood test. So you can't convince your blood to do differently. It's not a test of your glucometer. You can't change your diet for 7 days. I had another friend that said, your blood sugar today hit 450. Imagine what your A1C would be if you checked it today. Well, it would still be whatever it was because it's not a 1 day average, it's a 90-day average. Now, just in case you're wondering what my A1C is, my last A1C was a 5.7. My A1C the previous 90 days was a 6. Previous to that was a 6. Previous to that was a 5.7. Previous to that was a 5.7. Previous to that was a 6.1. Previous to that was a 6.1. So I've almost given you my A1C for almost the last 2 years. So as you see that none of my A1Cs have been close to a 7. If you take the 5.7 and times it times 24, that would tell you my average blood sugar. And then, like I said, if you take that number and cut it in half, that'll give you my lowest number. And then take that half number and add it to the top number, and that gives you the total average. And then my total average is whatever the number is in the middle. And like I said, your A1C ideally would be a 7.0 or less. And times 24, that's like 144. So on average, they want your blood sugar to be between a 72 and like a 210 or 220. And then your average score would be 144. Mine is nowhere near that. And I'm pretty happy. My doctor almost does a dance every time I tell them what my A1C is. And I'll be taking my A1C again in February. It's taken every 90 days at dialysis. So I'm able to keep randomly and thankfully regularly, I'm able to keep track of what my A1C is. So if you guys want to know what my next A1C is, I'll leave the comment section available on this one. If you don't care, that's fine too. But I'm just keeping you guys updated on my life, my A1C, because I have mentioned it in other talks and other interviews. And I know there's a lot of people that have no idea what it is and what it means. So just giving you guys a heads up as to what the A1C means and how to figure yours up if you go to the doctor and they tell you what your A1C is and tell you how much you need to work on that, then you'll know at least what your blood sugar is and what your average A1C is. All right. God bless you guys. Thank you for tuning into this video. Hopefully I'll make a couple more.